Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Um, Corey Thorne, the spiritual healer, coming in to do my morning card. This is quitting. I'm going to say I had to check see if it's actually lunchtime here in Alberta, but it's close. It's not really yet, but it is still morning. I did want to wait till my friend Lisa Star Francis finished her live. I was ready to come in, and then I'm like, oh no, I don't want to come in when Lisa's going live, and so I'm coming in now. But today, of course, we are still working on each and every one of my cards that were through the deck. And today we're working on card number 34. So while we're waiting for people to join in, I'm going to pull up the card that I've already taken from the pack because I don't need to shuffle when I know what card I am working with. So let's see. Let me just find her. This is a card that we actually had come out the other day. So good morning, Janet. Good morning. So I'm just waiting for some people to join in, for people to get in here. Oh. Hello, hello. Hear my own self-talk. I like to bring it up on my phone just so I can also see the comments here because there's such a delay. And this is the only way that I can catch the regular daily spammer stuff that happens. So if you're in here and you're watching and a spammer pops on, do not comment, do not open it. I don't know how else to change it. Facebook will not let me change my name so that they can't find me. It's a challenge and it's chaotic, and I just have to overcome the chaos. I cannot let the chaos stop it. I'm going to keep going, and that's part of the journey. So if the spammer comes on, we will catch the spammer. Don't open it. Don't comment. Don't say its name. Don't say nothing. Let's just get it blocked and get it out, because this happens even when we're not on live. I am constantly having to catch this in my page. Facebook, for some reason, tells me I don't have permission to change the name because I wanted to change the name a little bit of my page so that it's not so easy for them to then find. So yes, it's good evening to you, friends. Yes, and so there was comments, and I was out for dinner. I can't be on the phone all the time. I'm not glued to my phone. I try to be when I'm home, but I have very little personal life. So when I do have time with my daughter, my granddaughter, my partner, I really try to take time away. So if the spammer comes up, if you can't report it and get it down, it's just don't comment. As soon as I get a moment to get back in, I will get in there. So yeah. Yeah, you can let me know. I mean, don't comment to the person, Janet. Because people often tell that, like, they tag the person's name they tag the spammer. Don't tag the spammer. Like, don't put a comment back to the spammer. Comment to me, yes. Make sure I know. But other than that, no. So, good morning, everybody who's joining in. Good morning, Monica. I was just letting some people get in here before we start. I know not everybody comments, so I do see the number of people that are following with us. And today we are on card 34. And yes, you have seen this Mavis before. Yes, don't react to it, right? Don't react. Don't give the spammer any more attention than we have to. That's it. So today we are, speaking of master manipulator, so today we are back in and we're with card number 34 today. We're getting closer to the end of the cards. And if you're waiting for me to get back to you today about appointments, I will get back to you sometime today. I'm working my way through. I'm not taking very many individual sessions all month. I am mostly taking clients at the end of the month. That's just how I have to work for right now. So if you're waiting for me, my list is long. I'm trying to work around schedules. I'm trying to work around people's schedules, and I send out a couple of requests, see if that works. I have to wait for those people to get back to me. So responding, and if so, the best and easiest thing to do sometimes is to go in and book your own appointment. Go into CoreyThorne.com, book yourself in. The payment type is there. It gives you an email. It gives you your Zoom link. Everything is right there. If I have to do it, I have to do each one of those stages individually. So it's so much easier if you book your own appointment. It really, really is. And I know the spaces are limited. I understand that. I'm the one who's doing this because I have to take care of other things in the business and in my life right now. In my throat. So France, no cancer. Yes, that is amazing, amazing news. Wow. Congratulations. I'm just thrilled. I'm going to cry for you. I'm thrilled for you. That's so incredible. Wow. Okay. See, there's the spammer. I was just waiting for it, guys. Okay, I got to get out and get into. Don't anybody answer it. It's like Venus freaking flytrap. We're like sitting here waiting to catch it. Got it. Okay, we got the first spammer. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Well, let's just start with this today. Let's just start with card number 34, the Master Manipulator. This is Mavis. And Mavis, there's many different readings, and I swear Mavis has a split personality. That's the way she's speaking to me. And what's coming up is actually a part of what I'm teaching tonight in More Than Existing. I teach a lot about archetypes and about the roles that we play in the stories and the illusions that we can convince ourselves are truths. And I teach a lot about that. For about 3 years, I channeled through this man named Carl Jung, and I had no idea at the time who he was. I had never even heard of him. I didn't know I was even channeling him, and so I just had all this work and all this information, and then I discovered him, and I discovered that a lot of what I even took in my training when I started out years ago in coaching was based around a lot of his work and Erickson Milton. And I went to Erickson College in Vancouver for my life coaching training back many years ago. And of course, now I have my own program that I teach, a coaching certification, a More Than Existing light worker coach. And so when I first started to get this information, we talked about the characters and we talked about, the archetypal roles that we have and how we become, how we play into those roles and how those roles impact and affect our lives. And so, we see that so often, but we don't even think about it until you're awake and aware. You don't know that you are sometimes your biggest manipulator of your own energy, that we don't even think that we're all energy. So the way this came up for me today, and I've been writing about it all morning, is splitting ways. And so in writing the book the way that I'm writing, or that I'm finished now, this is another add-in. So this is how it happens. I'm almost done and they give me another chapter. And this is the last chapter of the book, The Way. So it's a journal. And so I write about splitting ways with people, with things. And I'm like, it's amazing how quick we are to split ways with people when we feel as if they are not doing what we want them to do, or they're not making us happy no more. But we're so unwilling to part ways with the parts of us that are not serving us. And the first thing came up when I started to write this was, how many times in your life have you heard people say to you, "Oh, it's not really you. It's me, but this is how you make me feel. This is what you're doing. This is what I think you're doing to me." Well, that's called gaslighting. And so it's like, that's gaslighting. And there's so many, and when we've been a victim, or we play martyr, or we play the villain, like so many ways, what we don't realize, if you are conditioned to that kind of conversation. You include it in your own conversation and you have built a relationship with it. And it has become a go to when you feel as if you are being like attacked, or you feel like you're being underestimated, or you feel like you're being unappreciated. We go up on the attack, right? And that's just, and it's a natural thing. Well, we do that even to our own selves. And so it's not you, it's me. When someone throws that statement at you, throw it back. Say, yes, it is you. Actually, it is you, because that's not what's in my head. That's not what I'm thinking. And so people always say, oh, it's so crazy. Like, you can read minds. And I said, yes, I could. But I talk to spirit rather than I talk to your head, because in your head, you can have a whole fantasy running up there. And if I'm going to talk to your head, and a lot of psychic work is about reading energy and reading that mind, well, you're reading history, right? You're reading the past. And if the past is what's dictating your life, if you keep getting triggered to the past, you're unable to move forward. So if you have a relationship with your past more than you have with your right now, or you have a relationship with only what the future has for you, and you keep waiting for the future to come, you're constantly manipulating yourself and you are losing out. And we lose out on so many things in our lives when we make the choice to choose to stay stuck, to stay rooted and grounded. And so the motive behind that is so that we can stay a victim, stay a villain, stay a martyr. So because it aligns to the stories that we have in our heads. That's where we get stuck, right? And so we get stuck in that place. I'm just checking out, making sure we got no more. And so we also then, so we all play those, when we look at the roles that we're playing in those characters and how we get caught, that you can be playing two stories in your head at one time. You could be playing three, you could be playing 10, or you could be playing 10 people, right? Like, you could be playing everybody. Like, you could have a whole little spew. How many people have like all these little people that become puppets on a string to their story, to hold people hostage and captive, to making sure that everybody is nurturing their fears and insecurities. Because once you tell yourself a lie, once you convince yourself of a lie, once you start to live that, it will become a truth. The more you tell the same lie, the more that you preach about the sky falling, the sky will fall, and finally somebody just stops and goes, man, I'm not sure about that. And so when it's throwing back at you, when life gets thrown back at you, right? So it's like, so the other day we talked about Mavis being really about that volcano. And today we're talking about personality, and we're talking about how you can convince yourself that you are a victim and you are a villain. And if you're a victim, you become the victim in every single relationship and every single story, and no matter where you are, and you'll keep throwing it back at other people. Definitely the story of my childhood, right? So if you're raised in gaslighting, or if you're raised by a victim, if you're raised by martyring, if you're raised by that sense, and there's one thing to be a martyr with a cause, there's one thing to be a martyr that has a cause, or to be a martyr that has a how can I put it? I'm trying to put it in the nicest kind of way, that has a motive to manipulate. That is, the manipulation is that it is serving their highest good. And I always say, if you're volunteering, or if you're going to go give something away because it makes you just feel good about yourself, so that you can brag about what you have done to help somebody else, or how much you're doing for somebody else, then you're doing it for all the wrong reasons, right? And that's such a truth, right? Right. Yes. And so Mavis is that she has to get out of her own head. And if you look real close, we talk about her not having her head. If you look real close, if you can see through the smoke and mirrors, if you can see through the fog, if you can look beyond, you can actually see it is still there. She is just separated from her truth. So when you start splitting ways, when you start breaking up, when you start falling away from your stories, from what you've used to manipulate yourself, to stay stuck, when you start moving away from there, you start to come back into alignment. You start to come back into you, and you can reconnect. So the head is meant to be the mind is meant to have a real purpose for you. But your mind is not here to control you. And you're not here to get into somebody else's head to use something that has the ability to trigger people, to get them to react how you want them to. And that's what the whole world, that's what's happening in the world right now, is that they use fear to manipulate the world into believing a truth that aligns to the motives, so that we are manipulated. And it's happening everywhere. It's been happening since the beginning of time. This is not new. It's not something new that's happening. You have the ability, you have the opportunity, you have the choice to have a relationship with you, and to have a relationship with the soul self, and that to know that the mind can play tricks on you, and the mind can fool you, and you can convince yourself that anything is truth. And so I always say, it's like, this is the truth that I believe to be true, but my mind is open, because it's taken a long time to kind of split ways with the villain, the victim, all of those parts that we play. But we also want to be a hero. How many people want to be a hero, right? And so you want to be the savior, and that comes into the martyr. You want to be that hero, so you're always like giving your heart out, and so you're the martyr who's like, oh, I'm always the first one there. I'm always the first one to step up. I'm always there for everybody else, and we play that, right? It's like, and so that game gets played. It's like, no one else is ever there first. I'm always the first. So would you like a hero biscuit? Would you like a cookie for that? And that's the truth. So when you hear yourself, you got to start talking to yourself as if you are really starting to see through your own bullshit. Because when we start to see through, we realize how much we're alive. We have been triggering our own story. We've been triggering ourselves to stay stuck. And it's like, the world is not all about you. It's such a truth, right? And it really is. It's not all about you. And you could be offended by someone that you're creeping, and it was none of your business, but you're creeping. You could be offended because you're just scrolling through Facebook and you see something you don't like, and then all of a sudden you become a keyboard warrior, and your whole day, your week, your month, your life is ruined. You ruin everybody's day in the house because you are gaslighting yourself. You wanted to find something so that you could stay pissed off at the world, so that you could justify the motive to be able to say, see, I told you, this is what all people are like, and they all behave this way. And so we become a master manipulator. The yellow birds really represent joy and happiness. They are hope. They're telling you it is not too late for you to put your head back on. It is not too late for you to think logically, to think maybe not everything I'm telling myself is truth. It's also that you have two hearts. Your brain, your head, your head kind of has its own heart, and then you have a heart down here, but you also have another, you have a heart. So this has an opportunity. What I call your heart up here is your creativity. It's like your third eye. This tells you the truth. This is like, oh, come on, sweetness. Come on, you know better than that. Let me show you. And so that's kind of like the crone energy sits here in your third eye. It's that grandmother loving energy that says, you know what? You've let a lot of stories. You've let a lot of like toxins flow through this. You need to like lymphatic drain out your own energy. You need to lymphatic drain your own words. You need to detoxify yourself from your own self and let this heart become clear again. Clear, clear, clear. So it's like when someone's dying, you got to bring them back to life, clear. And so you get that electric zap. Well, it's the same type of thing. You kind of zap your own self. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to be real with yourself. And you got to know that not everything is exactly as I keep playing it out. That everything of this story is serving my highest good to stay in that energy. And when you can set yourself free of that, it's amazing, because then this beautiful little crone energy is saying to you, let me show you. This is what's possible from happiness and joy. If you go to hope, if you hold on to hope instead of that fear story, if you have faith in you, you should know that no one is trying to do this to you, that it doesn't matter if you show up first. Those who love you know you're going to be there if you are needed. You don't need the hero biscuit. You don't need to be a priority. You don't need to make that big entrance when you walk into a room. That's kind of that show off energy. Hi, I'm here. When every part about you gets extra, extra loud and you act up. That's all trauma response. And those are the ways that, somewhere inside of us, our fears and insecurities, The attitude that we are exuding out into the world shows up. Clear this, declutter this aura, this energy, and you will be embodying the light. And so the green really represents, you see all the little speckles on her, you see all of these. And so when you look at the green, green is healing. So an opportunity for full body healing is to break up break up with your ego, break up with your unhealthy ego, break ways, part ways with the parts of you that, even though you've taken a claim to fame to them, that you think they're working for you, maybe they're not, maybe there's a better way, maybe I could listen to somebody else and it's not going to hurt. But if you look at her heart that's in the center, it is being led by the sacral. So it's being triggered by the emotional because she has been there before. She knows what it feels like. She knows what it's like to be hurt. She knows the pain. And so is it really fear, or is it you are afraid? And so I wrote a whole another part of the book this morning about fear. And I said, I used to use the word fear is I'm fearful, but it's not. I'm afraid because I have experienced this. I have seen what a beautiful face can do once they turn ugly on the inside. I know what people can do when we become fearful. And so that I'm afraid of what is possible when this happens, because time and the push of time and trying to convince us and trying to make us believe that everything is ending and we're in this destruction, or this is going to happen or that's going to happen, that pushes an agenda to cause you to be fearful. So in my coaching program, it's not all about thinking in the moment, because that's when you think so impulsively that your other side of you starts to make those choices. I'm like, you know what? Why do you feel the need to have to rush that decision? Why does that have to be made right now? Is there an opportunity for you to take time, for you to think about that, for you to allow yourself to sit with you, to trust that if you take the time to think, you will not react and respond in an unhealthy way, that the parts of you you've been trying to heal is now not being, engaged because you're being told that you have to do it right now. Give yourself time. What's wrong with sitting still? What's wrong with taking time away? Why does everybody need everything right now? Why do we get so impulsive? Why is that what's leading our lives? And that becomes the master manipulator. So the fear of running out, the fear of not having enough, the fear of not being enough, the fear of everybody not liking you, wanting to be like, all of those things have caused us to be in such a turmoil that it is serving the needs of industries, or it's serving the need of other people, but it's not always serving the needs of us. So I say to people, this is your choices. I can give you the opportunity to explore choices. I don't care what's in your head, because what's in your head is not always your truth. When I look at you, I can see your life. I can see the possibilities, but that doesn't mean that's going to be the choice that you choose. But if you spend your whole life so focused on that one dream, that one thought, or that one story that, a psychic, a medium may have told you 20 years ago, and that's all you have focused on, you've missed life. So when I was doing my journaling this morning, the question was, what is my biggest regret? And I said, I don't regret anything other than I have had no life. And whenever I would say this, I would get, you've had a life, you've done this, you've done that. And I said, everywhere I go in my life, I have been tied to my work, because I've been a business owner. And I said, I love my work and I love what I do, but I have a separate identity. I have a part of me. So I go in, I'm not able to go and enjoy dinner with my family, or to be with my partner, or to do all those things and not at least once have to check the emails, the phone, the something, and work 7 days a week. Right. And so is that healthy for you? And so my mission and what I'm doing for myself is I am making a conscious choice, a decision. So this whole summer, because I'm moving in June, I'm not going to do any personal sessions, not one, over the summer. I'll be back, I'll do them until then. I'll be working then, but I'm taking this whole summer off because I've always manipulated myself into believing, oh my God, I can't step away. What happens? I'm like, it is 8 weeks. It is 8 weeks, really, that you get of a summer here in Alberta. It's like, or, it's like, so it's only a short period of time in a long time. Right? You too, Sherry, right? Ditto to it. And it's like, I'm not always here to be a servant to this or to my work as much as, and it doesn't mean I don't love. And that's what you have to look at. What have you kept doing in your life that you keep holding yourself hostage to? And you tell yourself the story in your head, oh, I have to. I have to. Oh my God, they will not survive without me. Yeah, well, that's your own story. And that's what you want to believe. Right? It's like, that's your story. That's what you want to believe, because that's part of what we got to split ways with. We got to split ways with those parts of us because they're not truth, because that's fear. That is our fear. If you let go of that, and you may be afraid. I may be afraid I may not have no clients when I return, but the world is full of clients. And those who love me and those who respect my work will always wait for me. And that's a truth. And so a few weeks away for me to become back fresh, renewed, with some more stuff written. I'll still be teaching, of course. I'm pretty much teaching all summer. But I'm taking some time, and I'm going to go hang out at the beach. I'm going to take time, and I'm going to write, and I'm going to actually do something that I have not done in this lifetime without fear. Because if I took a week off, I'd be so concerned, because everything was dependent on a schedule. And I've always worked based on the number of clients that I have. So I don't have any money. I don't have any money when I'm not working. I don't have a paycheck. I don't have a salary. I don't have those things that come in like a regular job. But I cannot let that I'm afraid, but I'm not fearful. So I have the courage to know that I'm worth doing this. And that's what you have to do for you. Where do you have the courage to walk forth in your life and say that you are no longer going to manipulate yourself, or to lead yourself to believe in a truth, that a illusion that you have created into a truth, and you're going to make a choice to choose you. Mermaid. Right? Mermaid. Yeah. I'm in my Chiron return this year. And so I've got my ass kicked over the past few years because I was in the healing the unhealed healer, and which is exactly what I have done. So once you read my books, and once they're all out and you read them all, you really get to see. What I do is that I teach, guide, lead by my stories through what I have done. That's who I am. That's what I am. And so I've also made some big changes in my work, some big changes in my life, and I've separated some of my things. So on Thursday or Friday, you see me post. We got another card. We got the Observer, but you also see me. This is our validation card. But you also see me post in the past few weeks about she is the creator of her own life. And you see me post the black and white, like the two pictures and those type of things that I've been posting. Walking away. Is she walking away, or is she walking towards? And you hear me talk about, I'm not walking away. I'm walking towards my life. And so on Friday, I also start to do some work on starting separating my work, so that my podcasting work, that type of work, is not blended into my psychic medium work. And because, I really truly understand that not everybody wants that part of my work, and so I'm not separating it just for somebody else. I'm separating it kind of for me, so that she is a whole nother journey. She is another story. And I'm about to walk a new journey. And I'll always do this, and I'll always love that. But these cards are about another journey. These cards are a new journey. And so this was my, my sense of self, of what do you got to do for you? So where do you need to kind of to make a little bit of a break with yourself, like really start to observe your own life and just look at, is this working for me? Am I fully happy? Hold on. Trying to find the card. So this is card number 10, and this is Maiden. So Mavis is a crone. So she knows exactly where she's going and what she's doing. And then back here in the Right, Sherry? I know, I love it. She is. And it started, how I seen it was when I was pulling these cards. When I was pulling all of these cards, I would look at, and when the split screen started to come up, and I would always see myself looking at myself through the cards, because the cards are my story. These cards were created a lot from where I was. So it's like I've had to make a lot. I've made a lot of changes in my life and done a lot of healing. If I could write 5 books, create these, and the endless amount of programs based on what I have done. So when I seen myself looking at me in each and every one of these cards, I started to see a truth. And I've shed a few tears over these. And I've looked, and I've looked deep into my life to find pieces of me that I could actually say, I really am proud of you. Like, I had to tell myself, I'm proud of you, because I keep saying, I don't know if I've really done that much, like, but I've done a lot. And so you have to, once you start to look at you, you start to see those birds are not dead birds. They're flying birds, and they're flying towards the heart. They're saying, that orange heart, that represents the sacral, which means you're letting your emotions kind of get in the way of your intuition, that sometimes your bleeding heart has become too much, and you need to start to trust that if you can let this go, if you can start to heal beyond this, or not be so caught in those emotional stories, you might start making some choices towards you. And so Shelta is the observer, and she's truly observing life. And when you look really close at this card, there's a lot of faces, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot looking at us, and there's a lot observing us. And we sometimes assume that, they're thinking this or they're thinking that, and the one that kind of always, when I'm working with people, say, nobody likes me, nobody gets me. And I'm like, well, who's that? Everybody hates me. I'm like, well, everybody don't know you. You want to believe everybody knows you, really? So when I even look at my work, and I'm like, I'm still such a little guppy in a big fishbowl, or I'm a little speck of sand. And when I was working in Slave Lake and the work got really busy, yeah, more people knew me, but there was still more people don't know you than know you. And so when you can remember that humbleness, is that, you know what, in the big scheme, in the big picture, very few, as much as 4,000 people might know who I am, might know of my work, 5,000 might, six, but did you count how many people are on earth? So not everybody knows you. So, it's, don't go thinking, don't let your bridges get too big, or type of thing, right? And so, yes, yes, absolutely you should, Miss Sherry. Maybe that's a little message for you. Right? Because this has been a journey. This is like 17, 18 years now that I've been on this part of the journey. Before that, I mean, I was a hairdresser, an esthetician, running my own business. I've been at that for over 30 years, and I'm going to be 50 in a few weeks, right? And so, this is right. And so that observer, when you really look in, is that clarity. And if you look right in the heart center of her, if you go right in here, see how that's wide open, right? And so she's veiled, she's cloaked, she's afraid to she's opening, she's exposing herself, she's letting herself be seen, she's still unsure. So you can observe without change. You can observe without having to change anything in your life. But to start to be aware starts to change everything. And today, this is truly about when we start to want to master our lives, when we want to start to bring about change, first and foremost, be the observer of the life that you have been witnessing. And that's the truth. Yes, yes, I have been on. Oh my God, a big snowstorm just hit. Yes, Sherry, we have been together a long time, and you are an amazing healer, my friend. So, there you go, guys. That's my cards of the day. I do have to leave you. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for being with me. I have some other things that I have to go attend to. Yes, she is a beautiful card. These are beautiful. And I will be back again tomorrow. Not sure what time tomorrow. I have a few things happening. So I'll be in. I've got a feeling it's going to be earlier tomorrow morning. So I think it'll be like 8:39, one of those early times. But much, much love. And thank you for being here. Bye-bye.